Welcome back to the channel. Another nice, beautiful Kentucky weather day. As you can see, a little bit of snow on, but that's part of it. Okay guys, I have a couple more videos on some updates we done on the Ford Unibody that I'm gonna run probably this week and next week, and then we'll see where I go from there. But hope you enjoy it.
1962 f100 Unibody updates. Moving along pretty good. Our last video, we got the fuel injection mounted on the engine, getting everything wired up. But we did find, while we was working on this engine the last time, this is probably the original radiator and it's leaking. A couple of drips running down the front of the radiator, so he's going to replace it, along with putting some cooling fans on it. This will be an aluminum radiator that we put in. All right, first thing we're doing today, wiper motor was bad. This is the old one. And we took it apart, and we could get it to wiggle a little bit, but then it would get hot and quit. So there's a new motor. Goes back in the same bracket. And you get all the wiring with it. Has a pigtail here that it connects to the motor. And then the other end of this pigtail goes to a new wiper switch. This even has a wash feature on it, which this truck doesn't have, but if it did, you could hook that up too. So I'm going to get this put back in the dash and get some voltage hooked up to it. And then we'll check it out and make sure it works okay. All right, after a little adjusting on the arms, try high. Okay, let's see if they park. That's about as good as we're going to get it. We tried putting these lower, but they hit the chrome if you go much slower. Okay, we're all buttoned down on the instrument cluster and behind it. Still got a few wires to tie up underneath, but everything seems to be working okay. He put him a USB jack right here where the cigarette lighter was. And it's wired up, see it turned on. All right, a little cleaning up here on the firewall. There's a fuel gauge and a regulator. Everything's hooked up. Got another fuel line to hook up, but it's getting there. I'm prepping for the new radiator. We're gonna go ahead and pull the fan off. Won't be using that with the new one because it has electric cooling fans. Fuel filter. Okay, we're hooked up. Just need to get everything mounted and buttoned down. He's going to replace this exhaust system. Some pretty rough looking welds, and that one actually broke already on the hanger. So we're going to get this out of the way. And we got some new headers we're going to put on the motor. Here's a battery box. We're going to be putting in the bed, be down below the bed, and so have that to do today. Fuel pump regulator, I think he said we had it, got it in, so we're going to be working on that. And some more things. built Ford tough. All right, there's the battery box. Really turned out well. We're away from the fender. We're away from the spring. And our cables will go in here at the top. We've got enough space between the top of the battery so the cables will be free. That should work good. All right, we have the ground hooked up. And it runs over the frame into the battery box right there. And there's the hot wire here. All right, we put the truck down and we hooked up the 12-volt cable from the solenoid. Fuel line's all hooked up. Now we're going to raise it back up. We're going to put a ground wire between the engine block and the frame, and a couple more things to button up underneath. Okay, next we're going to be changing these two headers. The ones he bought are huggers. They'll be closer to the engine. A little more room then. Coming out awful easy, ain't it? That's good though. And here's the new headers that we'll be putting on. Finishing up here under the dash. Cutter carpet around the steering column sleeve. And we trimmed around the fuse box. So we just need to tie them wires up. This is a radio wire, that's why it's laying loose. Now we're looking at this front grille. The black's kind of faded here around the headlight on this side especially. So we're just exploring here to see how all of this comes out. I'll go ahead and get this old radiator taken out. The new radiator has a transmission cooler built into it, so we'll be using this separate cooler. Them are plastic type pins and nuts. The old radiator's out. And now we're trying to take this front piece off at the grill's end. Do a little cleaning up on it. Okay, we got the grill out. And also this top panel that has a hood latch mechanism on it. So we can do a little cleaning up on these. And he's cleaning up on the wiring. Make it look a little better. Repainted the black around the headlights. And now we're just cleaning the chrome using this polish, aluminum polish. That black definitely looks a lot better. Okay, headlight surrounds, we need to put them on. Put on the new horns, and they work. And we have the wires routed across the radiator support. put on a new thermostat housing. And the reason we had to do that, we need another temperature sensor port, and it'll go right there. Because we need two, one for the fuel injection, one for the regular gauge, so that's why we had to do that. And you put a new bypass hose on, and new radiator hose ready for the radiator. All right, we got the temperature sensor mounted there on the thermostat housing. Exhaust pipe and the muffler, and we've been fitting it underneath there to make sure that it turns right. And I think we're good. This is a hanger that we went ahead and welded on. So let's put it under there and see what it looks like. And here's a new radiator I'm going to be putting in. And we have the wires hooked together, running out to the side, and we're just putting electrical fasteners on the wires. Well, you just heard it running and started right up. Here's our radiator that we have all installed. Transmission cooler, we still need to hook it up, but we got to get some fittings for that. Got more wiring fastened down. Got it wire loom on it, got it taped up. Use these clips and use rivets to fasten them in, so they'll stay there. Same on this side. Cooling fans are all wired in, they're working. We set them with the fuel injection. It's got the line that turns on the relay to the cooling fan, so we set them at the temperature where they'll kick on and kick off, and they're working fine. Got pretty much everything buttoned up here under the dash. Again, that yellow wire is the radio. That's why it's still hanging loose. If you notice, this truck has just a clear lens for the parking lights and the turn signals, and had clear bulbs in it too. So he wanted to go with LED lamps in the parking lights, so, and the brake lights, tail lights. So we changed those to LED, and we did put amber bulbs in the front. So let me show you how they work. The LED bulb is a bright light. Now we did have to change the flasher, went to a solid state flasher, because the LEDs don't draw enough current for a conventional flasher to work. There's a back one, you can see it doing its thing. And the other side up here. And one last thing we did do on the instrument cluster, we set the speedometer. There is a setup procedure on that where you drive the vehicle 1 mile and you use this little red button right there to toggle through all the procedure. But we got that done and it's working great. All the gauges working like they should. And we adjusted the door too. We had a rub right here where the door opened against the front fender, so we've taken care of that. We've got a pretty decent gap there. We got a real good gap here between the bed and the door. Looks good. He's starting to hook up the cooling lines. Took the little cooler off with all the fluid dripping out of it there. He has some fittings, and I'll show you when he gets it hooked up what it looks like. But there's the fittings. You can see one there and one right there. This morning, he's working on cleaning the underside. And this is just old undercoating that's here. You see the edge of it there, it scrapes off. Just slow process. This is bed liner coating. There's a difference you can see where it hasn't been done. Fitting the exhaust tips. That's where they'll sit. I think he's going to pull that one back off and undercoat some more before he welds it permanently, because this part's not welded back here yet.
Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a good day.